Live.
All right, there we go.
But I didn't hear it, but here we are. So hello, everybody. Thanks for everybody for watching the recording. I'm sorry you were not able to join us to the live class. This is awesome. So hello and welcome to this week's essential oil class. Each week, we join together on Sunday evenings at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time to present you a class on essential oils. We delve into therapeutic properties, safety, and lots of recipes to teach you how to use essential oils safely. This week, our topic is anti-germ essential oils. After the presentation, we will be answering your questions. If you are watching this on Google Hangouts, you can click the Q&A button and submit your question that way. And if you are on YouTube, you need to click the text link bringing you to a new screen where you will find a grid-looking box located on the upper right corner of the live feed, and from there you can select Q&A. Please note that we will not be answering any questions until after the presentation. If you miss the live class, a recording will be available on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe while you are there so you don't miss each weekly class. So let's get started. I'm Leah Harris, certified clinical aromatherapist and founder of using EOSsafely.com, here with Daphne. Christy has a lost voice that she's trying to find. So let's have Daphne say hello. We learned last week, say hello. We learned last week that we could only see one of us at a time, unfortunately. So we've been presenting the essential oil classes for a few weeks now, and we're having a lot of fun. These classes are for anyone interested in learning more about essential oils, whether you are a beginner or a longtime user. So I am going to right now swap over to screenshot mode. Let me get my slideshow set up and walk you through the lemon essential oil webinar, Anti-Germ Essential Oil webinar presentation, and when I'm finished, we will work through your questions. So let me get my screen share going. Right on over to screen 3 over here. So everything that we will be discussing this evening, you can find at using EOSsafely.com/anti-germ EOS. That's everything here. And let me get my first, let me hide that. There we go. So anti-germ. Now, when we're talking about anti-germ essential oils, we're talking about essential oils that destroy microbes such as bacteria and viruses. These are also referred to as disinfectants, antiseptics, antivirals, and they're also referred to as anti-infectious. Now, there's several anti-germ essential oils. I mentioned this last week, but all essential oils are antimicrobial. However, some are much better at killing germs than others. And the top essential oils for this are cinnamon, leaf and bark, clove, bud, leaf, or stem, and tea tree. These are what I personally consider to be the main players when we're talking about anti-germ essential oils. Now, I personally feel that either sweet orange, tangerine, mandarin, lemon, and lime are really great essential oils to use in conjunction, and they blend really well with cinnamon, clove, and tea tree. But there are also some other options, as you can see right down here, that you can use. Now, bergamot, if you're not getting the bergaptan-free, does have a very low dilution, but it would be great in a diffuser blend. And eucalyptus, as we know, is best used on children over the age of 10, peppermint, children over the age of 6. Otherwise, the other ones do not have any age specifications. Now, first of all, what is wrong with using ready-made disinfectant blends? Now, there's plenty of what we call thieves blends out there that are pre-made anti-germ disinfectant blends, and all of these contain some form of cinnamon, most likely cinnamon bark, which is not recommended for use during pregnancy or breastfeeding. They also generally contain clove, and cinnamon and clove both need a very low dilution when used topically. Otherwise, it can be very irritating or even sensitizing if used topically. They are fine for use in the diffuser. However, many of these blends also contain either eucalyptus and or rosemary, which preferably should not be used on children under the age of 10. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 2 blends that are safe for the entire family and also safe for use during pregnancy and breastfeeding. And the first recipe that I have to share with you is my original recipe that we've been sharing. It gets asked a lot about in our Using Essential Oils Safely Facebook group. And this is a blend of cinnamon leaf, sweet orange, and fir needle. And yes, you can substitute tangerine for orange. You can substitute, there's lots of different substitutions for fir needle. And if you want a list, you can find that on usingeossafely.com/whynothieves. And I have a whole list of alternatives. Basically, there's lots of different kinds of fir, there's lots of different kinds of spruce, there's cypress and juniper berry, and even sandalwood and cedarwood can be used in replace of fir needle. So for cinnamon leaf, you can replace that for bark if you're not diffusing around pregnant or breastfeeding women, or obviously are using topically. It's great for diffusing. Bark is much better for germs. I personally feel it smells better. And if you're diffusing, you don't have to worry about the fact that cinnamon bark needs a much stronger dilution than cinnamon leaf. So that is my first original blend that I've had up there for a few years now at learningaboutEOs.com. And here's a testimonial. I've received a lot of testimonials over the last few years about this blend. Everybody loves how it smells and everybody loves the effectiveness of it. And Marissa says, I use the anti-germ blend in a spray. I have a baby in the house and I appreciate having a safe and effective spray to kill germs. That is just one of many testimonials that people have shared. So this is a really, really great recipe. Now, more recently, I've come up with a second recipe. There are some of you who don't like cinnamon. You want to avoid the cinnamon. Also, that first recipe needs a little bit lower dilution than this one. This one does not have any topical max dilution. So this is a blend of tea tree, orange, and cedarwood, or you can use lavender if you want, if you don't have cedarwood and you have lavender on hand. And also flipping back to the first recipe, in the original recipe, I've explained that you can use lavender instead of cinnamon leaf, and several of you have reported that you have used lavender instead, and you really love that. So feel free to do that if you wish. And instead of orange, of course, you can always use tangerine or mandarin. You can also use lemon if you prefer, that is fine, but that will give you a topical max of, I believe it's 6% if you use lemon to replace the orange, which you're probably not going to need to use more than 6% anyways, probably not even more than 3%, so you're probably going to be just fine with that. So here's the safety involved with using either one of these master blends. And yes, by the way, those 2 recipes were for the master blends. You are going to add those essential oils to probably a 5 ml bottle, either a regular like essential oil bottle. You can totally reuse one that's been emptied and well cleaned. You can purchase new ones, you can use dropper bottles, whatever you want to do to store those master blends. And I'm going to share with you a few recipes how you can use those master blends. So here's the safety involved. I've kind of already gone over a little bit of this, but that first blend is probably best for diffusing, not so much on the topical use because of the 2% maximum dilution due to cinnamon leaf. And it's going to have a lot less dilution if you use cinnamon bark instead. So if you use the Anti-Germ #1 blend, it's probably going to go into your diffuser or your inhaler or into your diffuser necklace. The second blend, the new one that I created, that is totally fine and easily used if you're using topically, such as in a hand sanitizer. There is no maximum dilution unless you do go ahead and use lemon instead of orange. And both blends are safe for use during pregnancy, breastfeeding, and with children. The first blend is not safe as is around dogs, but you can substitute cypress for the fir needle, and that does make it dog safe. The second blend, as is okay to use around dogs. And if you've listened to me before, you know I do not recommend any essential oils used around cats, but you can totally say, Leah, I disagree with you. I'm going to use them anyway. That is totally your call. But if you're curious to know why I do not recommend using essential oils with cats, you can go to usingeossafely.com/safecats, and you can see just why. So my first recipe to share with you is for an anti-germ disinfectant blend for your inhaler, which would be 15 drops. And I do say if you have children under 10, you can use 10 drops if you like. It's okay to use 15, yes. You can add 5 to 10 drops depending on your diffuser. You can add that to your diffuser right to your water. There's no need to dilute first. And I'm so proud of myself because for the first week, I remembered to include the fact that you can use this recipe in a diffuser necklace. I'm so excited that I finally remembered to add this because I get questions. Can I use this in a diffuser necklace? If so, how much? So the answer is yes. You can use more than 1 drop if you wish, but I strongly suggest that you try 1 drop first and see what you think, because believe it or not, it's just a few inches from your nose and you can smell it pretty well. And I personally, if I happen to accidentally get 2 or 3 drops, I'm probably going to take it off after a few minutes. It's going to be too strong. But please go ahead, try the 1 drop, and if you want to add from there, totally fine. Next, I have a recipe for hand sanitizer. So this is 12 drops of either blend. You can add to a 2-ounce spray bottle. This gives you a 2% dilution, so we're still okay if you go ahead and use the number 1 blend, the original recipe with the cinnamon leaf. It is okay to use to this recipe. So add that along with 2 teaspoons of a carrier oil or even aloe vera gel, and then fill to the neck with either witch hazel, which is my personal preference. If you don't like the aroma of witch hazel, feel free to include a hydrosol or even water. That's totally fine. Just shake well no matter what you use. Essential oils do not mix well with either witch hazel, hydrosol, or water. So shake that up really well before spritzing your hands. And this is something that I personally have used for several years, probably 10 or more years now, and I use it with my children, after we come out from a store or if we've been around any place, if they're sick or have any germs. Speaking of which, the inhaler is a really great thing to inhale before you are going around people who are sick, or if you're just going into a store. Give a really good inhale on that inhaler first, and then go in, and when you come out, another inhale. That's really, really great. But this hand sanitizer is also great, especially if your kids are touching a lot of things in the store. Spritz their hands afterwards. And this dries really well. You might have a little teeny bit of a feeling of something on your hands. Of course, you are putting something on your hands, but you just rub your hands together afterwards and it dries pretty well. The next recipe I have is for, and this is actually my final recipe because these are the most preferred ways to use the anti-germ recipe. I'm not going to give you 999 different ways to use anti-germ. I'm going to give you what I believe to be the very most effective ways to kill germs. So my final recipe is to use the anti-germ blends in a cleaning spray. So after you've made whichever master blend that you prefer, either the number 1 or the number 2, you can add 20 drops of whichever blend to an ounce of hydrogen peroxide. Shake well before using to clean surfaces. This is a really great cleaning spray. Now, if you jumped on here a little late, say you just jumped on, I know this is not a very large class because there's only a few best options for using anti-germ. But if you just come on and you missed the whole beginning, you can find me on Periscope. I'm on Periscope every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I repeat the class for you right on Periscope if you were not able to catch this. And I will share all of these recipes with you right over on Periscope. So that is the end of my slideshow. Let me figure out how to shut this off. Oop, I did it. Yay, I did it. So I'm going to stick Daphne in your face. If she has any comments on what I was talking about.
Well, what jumped to mind is not your last recipe, the next to last one. For people who prefer a flip top bottle for their hand sanitizer, I know that aloe is typically a liquid, not a gel. How can you thicken that up? I've wondered that. Can you use, what is it? I'm going to say this wrong. Guam powder? I read somewhere about thickening it up, and I lost my link. But it was talking about something else.
That's a really great question. You can thicken it up by using an oil as well as aloe vera. That can work. I've never tried using any powders or anything, though.
Okay. I might experiment with that, and I will report back to the group.
Awesome.
And see what we come up with, because I think some people like that gel consistency. They miss it when they, I like this spray. We have Christy's recipe for burns, and
yes,
this is the hydrosols and the aloe in the refrigerator, and I love it because it's just spritz and go. But sometimes if you're throwing something in your purse, you either have the preference, flip top or spray or whatever.
Right.
We'll look into that and then report back to the group.
That would be awesome. I know I've used a spray for years. I started off using water as the base, but I've swapped over to using witch hazel. I don't mind the aroma at all. It's not very strong. It's nothing like vinegar. So that's something that I personally have used, and it sprays really well. I actually tried a recipe with aloe vera gel, and I couldn't get it to spritz, but I did have the actual gel, the real good stuff, and not the thin stuff. So that might be why.
Yeah, I imagine too that the witch hazel, being partially in alcohol, would have more antimicrobial properties to it as well. So
definitely, yes, because most of them that you find do have a 14% alcohol added to it, and that's to extend the shelf life. I know there's push, I don't know if it's in Europe or Australia, there's somewhere that they really want to push to add that to all hydrosols to extend the shelf life. I personally don't like things forced on me. I'd prefer to have the option, but I can see why they'd want to do that, because hydrosols generally don't have a very long shelf life. So yes, that's why I prefer witch hazel. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of hard to think, but the shelf life of hydrosols is still usually what's the least?
It's a year usually.
Or a year, yeah. So I mean, that's pretty good, and you can freeze them.
Right.
So if you're not going to use it up that fast, just measure it out in ounce or whatever and freeze it. It's so funny. I keep looking at myself. It's like I have alien eyes or something. My computer is reflecting back right in my eyeballs. Trying to move.
I don't even use it. I'm so used to that. I'm so used to that for me. It's like I don't even notice that. But yeah, that's a really great point, though, because, I mean, that's why my recipe is for 2 ounces, because that's literally the size bottle that I keep right in my purse. I keep it right there, so it's only a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it really is 2 ounces going to last a year? Not if you're using it. It shouldn't last a year, so.
Yeah, especially if you're using it every time you go in the store and or back out, because I think actually, you know what, we need to look. Another thing, I need to write this down, is wipes. You get, because whenever we go into the grocery store, I always wipe down the cart really good, especially when you're putting the baby in it and he's touching everything. So another great thing to do with this recipe would be to create your own anti-germ wipe. That sort of situation. And if you have the spritz, you could just, spritz it and pull, out, small square of, I have it right in front of me and I can't, paper towel. I'm looking at it going, what is the word for this object? We cannot speak English. spritz it if you do the spritz versus the and then that's kind of one less thing to have in your purse to carry.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely an idea. Now, when my daughter was first in cloth diapers, I tried making my own cloth wipes. And so you can definitely do that, and you can do that with paper towels even. But I noticed with this recipe, you can use it directly on your hands. And unless you're super, super, super duper picky, you're probably not going to really feel the need to wipe it off. But yeah, you can totally make wipes with this. I mean, I've done this. You just fold them up and you put them in an, reuse a wipey container and just, pre-fold them all in there and pour this solution on top, and they're already soaked. So that can be a really great way to do that too.
Yeah, I really want to look into that option because that's the one thing, like my one toxic cleaner I will not let go of right now is wipes. And I don't, I don't take them to my store with me because they provide them. But, I'm just like, I refuse to use a sponge. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Dishes, but like my toilet, I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, no way, no way.
It was not clean well. Give me, it has to be brand name too, because they fall apart if they're not good quality wipes. So I'm such a snob. I really am. If you get to know me, I'm a snob.
I see a great question from Sandy.
Yes.
He's asking how to use this blend when kids are already sick. First kid came home from school with stomach flu. Can we prevent the rest of the family from getting sick? Well, you can sure try. I mean, these are germ killers. I would absolutely, if the rest of the family is not yet sick, I would probably, the best way would be to make up an inhaler. Actually, I should be selecting this question.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the best way is to make up an inhaler with this anti-germ blend and make sure you guys are breathing. Give a 1 or 2 really good inhales, like probably every 3-ish hours is probably a really great thing. Diffusing is a great thing as well because you're getting it sort of going in the air too. So that's another great thing. Obviously keep the hands being washed. Elderberry syrup, awesome. It's antiviral. It's been proven to reduce the length of sickness or even prevent it if you are not already sick. So I highly recommend that. If you go to my nourishingtreasures.com website, I do have a recipe there. Just hit Control F, start typing elderberry, and it'll bring you right down to my footer where I have a million things, and you can find the recipe right there. So that would be totally awesome to do.
It's good stuff. We just used it this last week with Nathaniel. Got some sort of, I'm sorry if I'm echoing for you guys.
There's no echo for me.
Okay. Tummy bug or whatever, and he was like, drown yourself in elderberry, and so I was shooting it back. It's a lot tastier than the cough syrup I made.
Oh yeah, it is.
Eric misunderstood me, and he came home with like ground cinnamon, this
right
sticks, and so the cough syrup has a cinnamon kick to it, but the elderberry syrup doesn't. It's really good stuff.
It is good.
It's not hard to get. Just tell them it's dragon berries or something like. I don't know. A long time ago, my kids started calling this blue cough syrup dragon medicine. And so I was like, here, it's dragon elderberry syrup. And they're like, okay.
Hey, whatever works. Call it whatever you need to.
Exactly. And I would say, I know we're kind of on the anti-germ thing, but echoing back to the immunity boosters. Anyway, if you inhale that, the clove oil specifically, or we did, I guess anti-congestion is what I was thinking of. We did before, but clove is what I'm thinking of with the immunity booster. If you inhale that, in your inhaler, and then what I do when our kids are sick is I run the diffusers in the common areas with the anti-germ essential oil blend, basically as often as I can because gross, I think it would be good to, break out your spray down your common areas like your couch and your door handles. I mean, think like you would with Lysol, but use your natural products.
Exactly. Here's another question. Let me select it. See, if I select these, then when you guys are watching the replay or however that works and you're clicking on through the questions, then when you click on the question itself, it jumps right ahead to when we're talking about it. So there's a great question from Jamie. She's asking, what kind of spritzer do you use, glass or plastic? I personally use plastic. The cheap 97-cent ones at Walmart, those are the ones I use, and I throw those in my purse. There's also some really pretty aluminum ones that are just as light and also won't break from River Tree Life. If you go to the anti-germ page using eossafely.com/anti-germ-eos, you can find links to River Tree Life's aluminum spray bottles there. I also use glass. This is not a time where I do use glass, but you absolutely can use glass. The issue with glass and plastic is storing the blends themselves that aren't diluted. Your master blend, you definitely want in glass. Okay? So this is what you want for your master blend. I personally prefer the dropper tops, but you can totally use something like this. You know, reuse an old bottle. That is totally fine as well. But that is for master blends because they're not diluted. If you're making a recipe and it's diluted, you can totally go ahead and use plastic. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I have from River Tree Life. This is just the brown one, but it came in the set with red and blue and green, and I think a couple of them might be square, so it makes them really fun. And just stuck a label on. This is the Christie's recipe that I was talking about when we covered helichrysum.
Right.
That came
bumps and bruises.
And I keep this in my fridge, just all the condensation on it. And I use glass too for some things. That was the first thing I bought, was these little 2-ounce glass bottles, and I made up some detangler and then some linen spray. And the problem with that is I feel like the kids are going to get into them and they're going to break, and I can't transport them.
Right.
So I haven't really found like something I'm like, aha, I want to use glass for that. I can use plastic. Why not? It's
exactly
easier to store and lighter and less worry. You know, I like using glass for a lot of things. I mean, I'm a mason jar freak. If you go to my
me too.
It's my logo is a mason jar. I'm not anti-glass.
Yeah.
When it comes to spritzes and sprays, just plastic's fine, and you know, you get more for your money. I mean, this is a 3-ounce instead of a 2-ounce, so I don't have to refill it.
Right.
And it's taller and more slender, so it fits easier in places, easier to find and label. But personal opinion there.
Right, and I like those finger top sprayers that you have rather than the trigger.
That's the
like you said.
Yeah,
they do fit better.
2-ounce glass sprayer, one of the triggers broke. It just I don't know. And so basically I born out of frustration, I didn't have any other sprayers or anything available at that point. I had to pull the sprayer out of this 32-ounce vinegar jar and stick it into my little 2-ounce jar and spray the bed I was trying to de-germ or whatever I was doing. And I'm like, that's it, no more. So kind of a fan of the plastic because they're a little bit easier to work with and less finicky.
Yeah, and then especially if you have kids, you know, you aren't going to have to worry if they drop them. You know, especially if you have young ones. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My kids get this out of the fridge on their own for, you know, I told them it's for bumps, bruises, and burns. And so they're like, I have a bump on the back of my head, or I have a bruise on my arm, or
right.
They're very specific with.
I know.
Like, so you want some spray? Go get it.
Exactly.
It's funny.
So are you guys having any, if I can see there's 19 of you guys here viewing, are you able to ask a question? I don't know if you guys are viewing on YouTube. If you are, there should be a text link right on the screen that you can click on and then click into and ask a question. If you see that grid on the upper right of your screen, then you can click on that and then you can select the Q&A and then you can ask questions. If you are viewing from the Google Hangouts page, then, okay, excellent. There's a couple of you. Awesome. Sandy, Cheryl, awesome. If you're checking us out from the Google Hangouts page, there's a Q&A right there that's embedded right on the side that you can click right on and you can ask questions. I'm trying to get a feel for how many are here because I want to give my book away. And I don't know if I'm going to, because if there's only a couple of you, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, awesome. There we go. There we go. We get some movement.
I can't participate because it keeps throwing up my church page. And I mean, I guess I technically could, but nobody's going to know who it is. I cannot get either my personal or my other pages. I don't know if it's because I'm on my personal doing this with you or whatever, but it's like only allowing my church page to show it, so I can't comment or anything.
Okay, awesome. So Lynn is on Google. Roxanne, she's on something. Vicky is yep, she can see and post. Janice says no question. I think that means she doesn't have a question. She's just checking in. Nathan Cooper's here. Sandy Wilson's here. My mom is here. Thanks, Mom. So do you guys have any questions? I mean, usually I know I like Blab because there's like a lot of chatter and a lot of activity, but what I don't like is the issues that we've been having with voice and with video and everything. So, okay, Google. Janice is on Google. Roxanne is on Google. Awesome. Actually, you're right, because if you're watching on YouTube, in order to type anything, you have to go back to Google. So that was probably a really dumb question of me to ask. So
I wonder if in the future we could open this up for people to ask questions either on YouTube or on the group, kind of from their phones or whatever. It's kind of hard. Well, it's kind of hard to watch a video and ask a question. You'd have to hop off to do that technically, but yeah, or pre-submit questions. That might be a little fun.
Well, I think we just need to get everybody to learn or figure out, you know, how to submit the question. It's not as simple as Blab. You know, there's a couple clicks you have to get through. See, here's everybody. So Lord says she's on Google. It's actually Tara Cooper. She's on her hubby's account. Hey, Tara. Patty's on here saying she has made a cleaning spray using water with vinegar and the oils, lemon and orange. Is that anti-germ? Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's disinfectant. Lemon's absolutely great. Vinegar's good too. Now, if you are in our group, I shared a couple of weeks ago a link to a chemist who actually did some really awesome studies on germ and different cleaners, commercial cleaners, vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, a whole bunch of different kinds. And she found that hydrogen peroxide was the #1 best. She did so many different kinds, and every time, hands down, hydrogen peroxide won hands down as being the best cleaner. Now, this is even better than Thieves Cleaner. Yes, even better than that. So that is why my original recipe for the cleaning spray, which you can find in learningaboutEOS.com, actually said vinegar, because that is something a lot of us crunchies, that's what we're told, use vinegar, use vinegar. Fortunately, there's a lot of you guys out there who don't like vinegar, so you guys are going to be happy to learn that hydrogen peroxide is very, very effective for cleaning on its own. So you add those essential oils there and whammo. So
I believe, I don't quote me, but maybe somebody even actually knows, there are some NICU units and PICU units that are starting to clean with both vinegar and peroxide, but you don't mix them. What you do is you use one and then follow it up with the other. Between the two of them, you kill basically everything, and it's better than So I don't know what happens if you mix both of them. I would love to know, just out of sheer curiosity. Somebody tell me. Don't try it and then tell me. I mean, like, just tell me. But you know, if you feel like going over something twice, which really, if you're cleaning something, you're probably, you know, when you make that motion, you're going over it a couple of times. So if you can train yourself to swipe once, stop, swipe another time, or, you know, whatever, then, you know, you could really knock stuff out.
Well, I think you can find that on Google because I came across this for years. I had right on my sink, I had a small bottle of peroxide, small bottle of vinegar. I haven't actually done it lately. This is a good reminder for me. But whenever I washed produce, I would do that. I would spritz it all down with one, and then I would spritz it all down with the other, and then I would rinse it off. So the thing is, they cannot be combined, because as they sit, and I don't know why, I need to find out, I hope we can find this out, but they need to be used one after the other, and it does not matter which one's first, but I need to be used one right after the other. So Sandy's asking if hydrogen peroxide is safe for use on skin. It is safe for use on skin, yes. I'm not sure if it's necessary or preferred that you use hydrogen peroxide on your skin versus, say, a hydrosol or something. So please let me know how you intend to use this on your skin, but it's not unsafe for the skin.
Right. When I was a kid and got my ears pierced, that's what I would clean, you know, my ears with whenever I rotated them or
exactly.
whatever. Definitely safe. I think it's good for zips and stuff too, but it can be drying. So like Leah's saying, you know, depending on your purpose, you know, you might try a hydrosol or something. But I wouldn't worry about, you know, like cleaning or whatever. You get it on your hands. Don't worry about it.
And we used to put it on our skin after cuts or stuff to kind of disinfect too.
Yeah, I always wash my hands after I clean anyway, so.
Right.
Oh, soap. We didn't talk about putting it in soap.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me answer this question. Lourdes has a question. Is there a Facebook page or somewhere we can go to ask after the class? I always tend to have questions after these classes because I can't think of it until it's over. Absolutely. If you type in using eossafely.com/FB, that will bring you right to our Facebook group. We have over 35,000. Oh my word. Oh my word. We hit 36,000. We're at 36,050 and I didn't even notice. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So we have over 36,000 people over there. And we have lots of admins. Daphne's one of the admins. We have several admins over there. So please ask your questions there. Of course, you can feel free to contact me directly too. I have a ton of contact information on the left side of my website using eossafely.com. The Facebook page for this class, you can go there right now, is using eossafely.com/anti-germ-EOS. And you can also leave a comment there. But I do not check those regularly, so the Facebook group is probably your best bet for getting an answer. So I'm going to let Daphne discuss adding to soap really quickly, and then I will answer. I know there's a few other questions that we have.
What's the link again? It's Anti-Germ EOS, right?
Yes.
Anti-Germ EOS.
Yep.
Okay. If anybody can see the chat,
I don't think there is even worth
typing. Yeah, I don't. And if you're on the computer, you should be able to maybe. But if anybody can see the chat, then those links are over there. But okay. Anyway, soaps. A lot of people make their own foaming soap. And I'm not presenting, Leah.
You're not? I see that you are.
Oh, am I? Okay.
You were? Yep.
There we go. I see it now.
You do? Because I actually see that I'm presenting now. Okay, there you go. I think, do we both see it?
Yeah, I'm up. So,
awesome.
Okay. Now we're on the same page. A lot of people like to make their own foaming soap, and you can use it with, how do you say that? Castile soap?
Castile? Yeah. I don't pronounce the T.
Okay. Castile.
Yeah. That's what I do. Maybe I'm wrong. But
I know. We talked about this. I cannot pronounce words that I've just read. I have to hear somebody else say them first. I need to watch more YouTube videos just so I can hear words. Anyway, you make it with, and a common misconception is that those contain hemp. You can find them without hemp very easily. They're just coconut-based soaps or whatever. And you can very easily add drops of essential oil or a blend to your soap when you make it. Andrea from Aroma Head has a great video. I think she used peppermint and one other oil, lavender maybe or something, in hers. But you could always just sub it out with this anti-germ blend, the same number of drops total. And you know, you just have to remember to shake it up first before you use it, and you're good to go. So I think anti-germ blend would be perfect for a bathroom soap, especially.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, because if you're handling raw meat, which I avoid unless I'm making hamburgers, I avoid like the leg. I'm in there with my fork, picking at the chicken and stuff. And my husband's just like, here, he worked in food service.
No, you need to just put baggies on your hands. That's all I do.
Oh yeah.
Baggies on your hand. Yeah. So here's the link right here, guys. Ding.
There we go.
So there is there's a comment here from Nikki. She's saying, I love your first blend. I use it with lavender, and I have been using it for at least 6 months now and a lot of stuff. I'm on Google and my tablet because I was feeding the baby. Absolutely awesome. Thanks, Nikki.
Oh, she got it on our tablet. That is great news.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Telling Leah I'm ready to strangle Google on its own because I have not been able to get in on my devices. So I'm so glad to see you here, Nikki, on your tablet. Way to go.
Yes. Awesome. Very, very good. Because from what I knew, from what I found out, you couldn't use it on your phone. You had to use it. Oh, ooh, Christy's here. Christy's here. Let me see if her video, did I present her?
Yes.
She's black. Oh, no.
She's probably accepting. You got to hit.
Okay, I need to give her a minute. So that's awesome, Nikki. I appreciate that. If it's okay with you, I would love to add your comment to my testimonials on that page. Is it okay if we show you, Christy? You're kind of dark. It's hard to see you, but you want to say hello? Or are you just hanging out? I can't even hear you.
She doesn't have a voice, remember?
Oh, that's right. Duh! Of course I can hear you. You have no voice. I see you moving your lips, and that's all. Okay, so Patty's saying, thank you so much for research on hydrogen peroxide information. I will definitely try that. Yeah, definitely try that. And search the group. It's definitely on the group.
I will go bump that up. I'll go search that.
Okay, awesome. Excellent. That'd be great, because that's really, really cool. She also has another comment or question. When you spritz with the vinegar and the hydrogen peroxide, is it diluted? No. It's straight vinegar and it's straight peroxide. No need to dilute. And Roxanne is asking a question about the soap. If it's safe to use every day, do you need to alternate with it? I have made it in a bar form. That's a really great question because, yes, we like to say if you're using essential oils topically, you want to rotate, say, every 3-ish weeks. Give yourself a week break and, you know, alternate. What you can do is you can alternate between anti-germ number 1 and anti-germ number 2. The thing with soap is it's a wash-off product, which means you have it on for a few seconds and then you're washing it off. So it's probably not as necessary for you to have to swap out essential oil blends to do that. But I like to err on the side of caution, as always. So I would probably suggest to you, if you don't mind, to go ahead and use one blend for, say, 3 weeks, and then swap to another blend for, say, 3 weeks. Because you will get tired of it, probably, you know, after a certain while. In other words, if you're going to use it 4 or 6 weeks, and then you're going to swap, it's probably fine, because you are using it, and then you're washing it off. You just...
Sorry. Change the question you're answering.
What'd you say?
Change the question you're answering.
I did. Maybe it didn't update for you.
Maybe it didn't. Okay, there we go.
And I actually had presenting you, but now it's not showing. Maybe it's just...
It's saying it's presenting you. There you go. Okay, give it up.
Okay, so Dan Heller's on here, and he has a comment. Witch hazel is wonderful for many, many uses. Absolutely. I agree, Dan. Absolutely. I love witch hazel. I actually, for years, and I've started, you know, using other hydrosols as well, but I like using witch hazel after I cleanse my face. I like using witch hazel afterwards to make sure that it's clean after I use my cleanser, and then I like to moisturize. And I really think it's really great for the skin, just as is. It's awesome for the skin. So Lynn has a question. Where do you find Casil soap? Most health food stores have it. Of course, you can find it on Amazon. Dr. Bronner's is a popular brand I personally use. I love Dr. Bronner's. You can find off-brands as well. And, you know, they're also effective. You're just using it for soap, and that's totally fine.
I got mine from Mountain Rose. They're a pretty good price. I mean, you have to pay shipping, but Mountain Rose.
I found it locally. There's a grocery store locally that I found it for $5.99 for a whole quart. And it works great. Where Dr. Bronner's is usually $9.99, so I'm like, yeah. Now, Patricia has a comment. Peroxide should not be used repeatedly on broken skin. It tends to break down new cell tissue if used repeatedly on broken skin, only once on broken skin. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. It's true. Yes, for broken skin, you want to be very careful not to overuse on broken skin. Excellent. Thanks for that reminder. Now, Patricia also is commenting that she had to switch to computer to post, could not post from phone. Yes, I found that to be the case as well as Daphne, that from your phone, it's probably not going to work on Google Hangouts, but it can work on YouTube. So Nikki has a... Yes, at it. I can't type on my tablet, though. That I'm doing on my computer. Okay, good to know. Yeah, from what I understand, you can only type questions on your computer. Patty's on Google. Awesome. Thanks for watching. And Dan finally found the comment box. Awesome. Wow, thanks so much for your comments and your questions. That's excellent. I love your questions and comments. If you have any more, please ask them now. And I'm going to think of a really good question for you guys. So which blend, the original blend or the new blend? Oh, by the way, when I ask this question, whoever types the question in first, whoever types the answer to the question in first will win a copy of my book, The Truth About Essential Oil Safety, right here. So listen up. Wait, I'm going to answer this from Patty first. She uses calendula hydrosol. What kind of hydrosols would be anti-germ? That's a great question. Peppermint is a really good anti-germ. Lavender would be good for anti-germ. There is a tea tree hydrosol, but it's not very easy to find. Again, a lot of them are antimicrobial, so any of them will be better than water. My personal favorite is witch hazel, though. I'll be honest. I prefer to use witch hazel for anti-germ.
Which one did you say was hard to find?
Tea tree essential oil.
Oh, yeah. Plant therapy is supposed to be getting it in, but we've been waiting for weeks and no sign of it yet. So, if anybody finds that, let me know because
I know. Like I said, it's hard to find. I like for hydrosols. I like Garden of Wisdom.
Yeah,
they have a really great selection. Yeah, they have a great selection. I love their Magnolia hydrosol. Oh my goodness! And they have a plum one, and they have a lot of awesome ones, and they're very inexpensive. Actually, Neroli is my favorite. So Lynn has a comment. Great book. Thank you, Lynn. I'm so happy you like my book. Okay, guys. So, so the first recipe or the second recipe, my original or the new one? Which one has the 2% topical max because of the cinnamon leaf? The first one to enter the answer will win a copy of my book, and you can email me at leaharris@gmail.com if you are the winner. So far, I see nobody, but I'm sure you guys are typing in, and I just can't see it yet.
Wait.
Can you see anybody?
Yeah, there's a man here.
I don't see anything yet.
Dan.
Okay, you tell me then, because I can't see anybody.
Dan said first recipe, and you just got 3 more answers.
Whoa, okay, now they're all flooding in. Okay, you guys have been listening. Man, awesome.
I think Sandy had the wrong answer. I think. What was the correct answer?
Right, new blend, and I see one that said second, but there's several of you guys said first. Awesome. So, Dan, you know where to find me. Actually, I can attach that to a PM on Facebook. I can do that for you. Sometimes I try to send it through the email, and people aren't finding it because it's in their spam folder, because it's a PDF, and it's It's kind of big. So if you don't have my book, then I'll give you my book. Congratulations. For those of you who didn't get it, I will be on Periscope tomorrow at noon. You can find me using EOS Safely. You can find me over there. And what I've been doing the last couple times I've been on Periscope is I've been encouraging you guys to have hearts, which means you're going to tap on that phone, and whoever has the most hearts at the end of the class is going to be the winner, and you're going to get a copy of my book. So if you didn't win tonight, please be sure to follow me on Periscope, and you can probably win the book, perhaps. We'll see if you wear out those fingers. So again, everything that we discussed tonight you can find right over on using eossafely.com/antigermeos. Right over there you can find everything that we talked about. If there's any more questions, oh, there is. Roxanne has a question. Castile soap comes in many different types. What's the best to use? Baby unscented, not one with an oil already right. I love the eucalyptus and the peppermint ones, but I use that to wash my dishes, and it's a really great cleanser, and you can totally use those. If you're adding this blend to one, then I would definitely encourage you to find one that's unscented, because I'm not sure how well this would do. But again, I don't use it on my skin per se. I like to use rubber gloves or latex gloves when I wash the dishes. So that's what I like. But you can totally use whatever you'd like to use. It's totally personal preference. And Patty has a comment. I have your book, Leah, and it is great, and the link is usually at the bottom of the PayPal receipt where you say thank you. I had to scroll way down to the bottom. The link.
When you email it to them. Well, I guess if you're paying for it, you get the PayPal receipt. It's in there. Right,
because what I do is I'll reply to the PayPal receipt, right, because I do have this book for purchase. You can go to using eossafely.com/Leah book, and it's there for $9.99. You can purchase it. So what I'll do is when I get those receipts, I reply right to the receipt with a comment and with the attachment. Depending on your email program, you might get it different ways. If you do have to scroll down, I'm sorry. My email program, it looks like it's right on the top for you. So if you don't find that you get it within, say, 24 hours, then please let me know so that I can make sure that you do get it. I've had to actually attach it to a few people on Facebook because they aren't getting my emails. So that's unfortunate. I am actually working on a way to automate that, so you guys don't have to wait for me to reply with a book attached, which is going to be so awesome, especially for me. Sometimes like, when I announce a sale, it's like, whoa, I get flooded, and then they're like an hour, like replying to emails and attaching books and everything. So having it automated will be a lot of fun. So are there any other questions before we sign off? Again, I will be on Periscope tomorrow at noon using EOS Safely. And if you haven't already followed me, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. You can find all of those links if you go to usingeossafely.com. I have everything on the sidebar for you to follow me every which way. Sometimes I will get into a rant on Periscope, so you might want to listen.
They're not ranting.
You never know.
They're not ranting.
We didn't actually talk about feet. It's funny because one of the last ones, I don't know if it was Lemon or something, we're joking like, and it's not going to be for feet, but actually, you will hear me officially state if your child has stinky feet, many of our children inherently do, you can totally use this in a blend on their feet, okay? But you know why? Because this is a foot issue. That is why it is okay to use this on your child's feet. So I said it.
I know. I just followed a blogger on Instagram. And I followed her because her photos are fantastic, and I'm like, I need to, learn some lessons from this. And she has some safe stuff. Like she had a dilution post, and it was pretty good stuff. And so her daughter's sick, and she's layering oils on her chest and back, and she's got oils on her feet, and then she's got oils on her ears. And I just wanted to go, but why?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's great, but then you're just like, but why? But I just left it. You got a sick kid. You really don't want to hear me picking at your
I know.
right that minute. So. But, you know, it's good that you're on Instagram, and anybody who's not already following Leah, you need to get on there and follow, because if you, don't make it over to check out the Anti-Germ page, Leah will be posting all of these graphics all the slides she has at the beginning of the class. Yes, I know. She posts those through the week on Instagram as well as Facebook. And it's,
Yep, absolutely.
very easy to screenshot and save to your phone. I know a lot of us like to do that because, we have our phone with us when we're making recipes or whatever.
Yes.
And it's a good place to kind of learn back, look through and, go over and recap things when you're, sitting in the waiting room or whatever. So that if you're not already following Leah on Instagram, go do that. But it's also a great place when you see those people on Instagram that are like, I just got a new oil kit. I did this yesterday. She's all excited about her Young Living oil kit. Don't blast them. Great, they're into oils. Just go and, she was like, I'm, ready to learn all about this. Go, that's really cool. If you want to learn a lot really fast, go follow this account and just leave it.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I've been learning a lot about marketing and direct sales and personal things. I guess I'm getting off on my own soapbox here, but the first thing about direct sales is you're selling yourself. And we're not going to get the message of safety across if we're going to pick apart everybody else, oh, well, that's wrong, oh, well, that's wrong. And I did it. I mean, people, I'd go on a rant about my kids' eczema, and people would be like, you should try this oil. And I was like, no, that's not safe. And, all of this. I'm not throwing any stones. I'm just kind of sharing what I've learned is, that's, following on Instagram is an easy way for yourself to learn, but it's also a really easy place to point those people in your life who you may not have a big personal relationship with, but share the wealth without getting in anybody's face. And Instagram's really easy to do that kind of thing. Everybody's reposting photos or saying go follow this account or there's a sale over here. So it's it's no big deal to say, hey, go follow this account to learn more really fast for free. Everybody loves free. So
yes,
my little soapbox of the evening is follow Leah, be nice, share. Anyway.
Well, and you have your own account too now.
I do. I have two. So you may follow me. I will end my shameless plug there.
No, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple of questions. Kara is asking about the lemon essential oil giveaway, and that is a very good reminder. I appreciate you reminding me about that giveaway. As Daphne was explaining that to you, I was going right over, and I just picked the winner. I use Rafflecopter, who uses random.org, so when I say I pick the winner, I click a button, and they tell me who wins. And so, LaTanya Brown, if you are here, you have won the lemon essential oil, the 2-ounce bottle from Oracacia. If you are not here, that's okay. I'm going to be giving you an email letting you know you've won. So congratulations, and thank you, Tara, for asking that question. I appreciate it. Patty's saying, yeah, she's confirming, right. It's at your PayPal reply, and thank you, but it's at the very bottom. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I think it's your email provider, because like I said, on my end, it's showing that it's at the top, right at the top. So I'm sorry about that, but it's good to know so that I can let other people know if they were to order and I reply. I guess it's going to be on the bottom, so scroll and keep looking. So I'm not seeing any other questions. If anybody has any more, I'll jump in now.
I had to mute myself because, sorry for all of this screaming. They're feeding off of each other. It's like yeast in here. Jan had a question. Do you have a foot soak for tired feet? And
I was just seeing
myself would like to answer that.
Yes, I was just seeing that right now. Thanks, Roxanne. That's a great question. I do not presently have a foot soak recipe already up on there, but you can definitely add the anti-germ blend, whichever one that you want to. You know, up to a 2% dilution is probably good. If you use the second recipe, you can use that even higher if you want to, but I think 2 is good. If you want to go up to 5, you can. With the anti-germ, you can add that to Epsom salts. That's a really great combination there. It would probably be the same recipe that I'd recommend for using in a bath. So it's basically at least 4 ounces or a quarter cup of Epsom salt, and you can use up to a full cup if you want to, a tablespoon of carrier, and then your 5 or 6 essential oils. Now for a foot soak, I don't know that I would necessarily go ahead and choose the anti-germ ones, but you could. Peppermint is actually a really great one for your feet, you know, rejuvenating those tired feet. So that's what I would probably recommend. I need to better train myself to look right in the camera. It's so hard because I'm looking around, I'm answering your questions, so I'm like looking right at you. Believe it or not, I'm looking right at your question when I'm answering you, so I hope that helps.
My husband likes tea tree. Whatever oil you like will probably, you know, help your feet. I'm trying to think of what's in your... I have a preview of all of Leah's blends, so I'm trying to think of what's in your relaxing blend. I love that one so much. That would be great for tired feet. Vanilla, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know, really.
We talked about vanilla a lot. That's amazing.
But peppermint's really good because it gives you that tingly feeling, and that can be really, really great.
Christy just messaged me. Christy, I hope you... oh, she's saying the sound isn't working on her laptop, so that's why she's not chiming in.
Well, the sound isn't working on her voice box either, so...
Yeah. Rest it, Christy. Go drink some chamomile tea.
So Roxanne has a follow-up. So always use oil in the water with the oils. Yes, I do recommend you always use water with the oils because as we know, essential oils or any oils, they don't mix with water. So they're going to be floating on the surface of either your bath or your foot bath. So when you plunge those feet in, which isn't as huge a deal because as we know, the feet have the thickest skin on our bodies. So it's not going to probably give you irritated feet as much as putting your body in a bathtub, but we just want to be careful that if our skin is touching essential oils, we want it diluted. So we want it diluted with a carrier. And, you know, because sometimes if you're adding, say, essential oils to a running bath, it can really help, along with the salts, to disperse into the water, but after a while, they can collect together on the surface of your bath. So if you have it already in that carrier oil, it's okay. It's going to be diluted if it touches your skin.
Yeah, I've used just Epsom salt, which is okay-ish. And I was getting ready for bath the other day and didn't have any Epsom salt out, and so I just grabbed some grapeseed and some arnica oil, and I think arnica would probably be a pretty good one for feet. I would think, Leah. And you want to wipe off, oh my goodness, boys. You want to wipe off the bottom of your feet when you're done soaking because it will be really oily. But I think it would be a great feeling to, you know, add moisture back to your feet. Because sometimes, I know, like with my mom, she has a lot of dry, cracked issues with her feet. And so adding an oil to help moisturize and rub that in would be good.
Exactly.
Powdered milk is good, but you have to get the full fat, and I've only been able to find it one place, so we just use our regular milk. If I'm not using an oil, I say I just use Epsom salt. I mixed it with the full fat milk. I should have specified that. So full fat milk or an actual oil. But Epsom salt is going to be great. The magnesium is really going to help.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't skip
exactly.
that.
Right. Now Roxanne has a follow-up question. You mix the oils with the oil and then the water. What I prefer to do is I have like a jar of the bath salts, like, you know, Epsom salts, and then what I do is I add a carrier to the salts and I add the essential oils to the carrier and just mix it all. You know, I would rather add the salts first and then the oils than add the oils and then add the salt on top. It won't mix as well. So if you have like a container, you know, like a little jar, I use like reusable plastic jars from like body polishes or something, and I'll throw the salts in there and then the oil and then the, you know, the carrier oil and then the essential oils. And then you just want to mix it up a little bit. You know, use a fork, use, you know, whatever you want and mix it up. And that allows the salt to kind of absorb those oils a little bit as well, and then add it to running water. If you're adding it to a foot soak, then you just want to kind of agitate the water just a little bit to sort of get it mixed, and that will help you. I didn't select the question until I'm done answering it. Sorry about that.
Well, I guess I'll go further with that. What Eric did to kind of help disperse the oils is, I've read that if you add them to running water, it can kind of, you know, create a steam that'll get the oils to release off a little faster than you like. So we wait till the bath is done. But what he does is he submerges the cup in the bath, and it kind of, you know, creates this, this own turbulence and disturbance, and it really scatters it across. And then, of course, you can mix it in further with your hand. So it's your preference, you know, if you want to let it agitate, you know, while you're adding it to the bath or foot soak, or if you want to just kind of submerge it and use science and scatter it a little bit that way.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Roxanne. Yeah, you're welcome, because yes, otherwise it separates. And again, you may find that it might try to combine again on the surface of the bath. With hot water, you know, essential oils are volatile, so they will evaporate somewhat as well. So, you know, it could be a really great way to use anti-congestion essential oils too. Mm-hmm. And Jam has a comment, for a foot soak, this is where hydrosols are amazing. Yes, you can use hydrosols. And yeah, and hydrosols to your bath too. You know, I suggest for small children, use hydrosols instead of essential oils. Use hydrosols, add it right to the water. Another great thing is to use dried herbs such as lavender. You know, fill a sock with it. You know, stick it in the bath. It's probably going to be pretty overwhelming, so don't use too much. But you can use the dried herb or herbs like even chamomile. Put it in a sock or something similar and throw it in the tub. And that's probably actually going to be more effective and more potent, you know, and pretty strong rather than essential oils. And it's going to help make them sleepy too, which could be good if you're giving your children baths at night. So great questions. I really appreciate that.
I know, and you guys probably can't see my face, at least on the recording, but I'm over here doing total light bulb moment. My face is like, ah, she said sock. I was just thinking about ways to add dried herbs and such to the bath without cutting up a cheesecloth every single time I put them in the bath, because it's easy, but it's more time and more expense. So a sock. So anyway.
You know, I wonder if you used, I can't remember what the name of those things are, but those little, you know how for your babies, the mesh things that you put food in that they kind of gnaw on?
The mesh teethers.
I bet that would work. I bet that would work to put the herbs in and throw that in the tub, because you can kind of reuse it, you can clean it, so that might be a really great thing to use instead of cheesecloth.
I can't. At least they're happy. I was on Amazon and I looked at, you know, like wedding favors. You get those little mesh bags.
Right, exactly.
Mesh was gonna be appropriate, because I don't know, is that plastic or just, I don't know. But
yeah, it's like a polyester. Yeah, I've seen those. It's like or even satin kind of, but it's like you could definitely put herbs in one of those.
Yeah,
but just the drawstring, you just want to make sure the drawstring on it goes tight enough, because sometimes they don't go very tight if they have like a satin ribbon in them. Yeah. So it might not be as tight. But yeah, I mean, be creative. You know, think about it. You know, use different things.
Thick. It just depends on if you're trying to avoid polyester or plastics and stuff.
Yeah, and both lavender, I think we're kind of getting off on anti-germ a little bit, but both lavender and chamomile can be helpful for germs too. So, you know, definitely. Yeah, organza. Thank you, Janice. Organza.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, it's like the paper towels. It's like things that are right in front of your face, and you just cannot think of the word. That's why it takes a village. It's more than just raising noisy children. It's just remembering words. You need other people to help you remember words. Okay.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody's comments and questions. Again, if you're joining near the end, I did see the numbers kind of go down a bit because we were kind of winding down, but they're bumped up again. Please join me on Periscope tomorrow using EOS safely. Right on Periscope at noon tomorrow. I will be on Periscope doing this class again if you want a live class. You can find all of this information at usingeossafely.com/anti-germ-EOS. That's where you can find everything that we discussed this evening, all the recipes and everything that you want to know about anti-germ and why maybe a coffee filter, Janice, a coffee filter may work. It might work. I don't know. You think it might fall apart? Maybe. It's hard to say. Oh, I didn't see Christy's message.
She just wants to test out her sound.
Okay. Can we hear you? No, I can't hear you. I can't. And you're not on mute. Patricia's saying, Daphne, I was just going to suggest those. I use those for both bath salts and dried herbs. Awesome.
Awesome. If you are on the group, either message me or submit a link. And I want to take a look at to what you use. So I'm always on the lookout for that type of stuff. So thank you, Patricia.
Okay.
You are cheese bonnet.
Aw, hey. You're so cute. Awesome. Okay, guys, so if we're finished with all the questions, if not, throw one in real quick, that's fine. You know where to find us. You can go to usingeossafely.com/FB. That will bring you right to our group. We will approve you, and you can ask any questions that you want to. Thank you so much. This was an awesome class. I appreciate you guys pulling through in the end there and asking a ton of questions. That was awesome. So that's great. So see you next week. We're actually going to be talking about Copaiba essential oil, which is awesome, 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 awesome for pain in particular. So I hope you can join us again next week on Google Hangouts or YouTube or whichever one that you want to join us at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about Copaiba. So thanks, guys, and see you next week. Have a good night. Bye.